Tonight I have a same game quad stack over in the MLB, and I'm also going to go over my favorite CFL picks for tonight's game, Montreal versus Toronto. But first, let's recap last night's picks, and as you could see, I got the direction wrong on the England stack. I said go for the double under. The odds were in the favor of the double under, but both England players ended up going over. The game did not even go into extra time or anything. They just were passing very heavily, and they had a majority of the possession. The correlation stack hit, but in the wrong direction. Then I went for a stack on Ozzy and Ozuna. They both had great juice towards the over. Ozuna did end up hitting, but Ozzy did not get a single hit. So overall, an L on last night's slip. Let's get into today's slip. It's going to be a 4-man, and I'm going to show you sort of a replacement pick just in case something gets taken off the board. So I'm going to give 6 total props. It's going to be 3 total stacks, and you're going to be able to mix and match them how you want. But this would be the official slip, assuming everything is still on the board. I'm going over to the Cubs versus Orioles game. I'm going to be stacking 2 players from each team, so we're going to get a nice 4-man here. First player I'm going with is Suzuki on his over half a run. And when I'm grabbing an over half a run prop, I like to take a batter behind that player and grab his over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. If you see the expected lineup, we got Suzuki expected to bat 4th, and we got Ian Happ right behind him at that 5th batting position. Hopefully the confirmed lineup is similar to this, or at least Happ is going to be batting behind Suzuki. We're going to lose that correlation effect if Suzuki happens to be batting behind Happ or something like that. So hopefully it does end up being something like this where they're one batter in between each other. Even if they get pushed up or down the order, it doesn't matter as much as long as the correlation is still standing. Now, although these guys are correlated, the direction is super important to get right. So why are we going less, or why are we going more? And in this case, I'm on Suzuki's runs prop, and you can see minus 120 juice towards the over, minus 110 towards the under, meaning his over is more likely to happen. And over on the hits, runs, RBIs, Ian Happ is minus 115 on the over, minus 115 on the under. But that is just on Bet365. I did check DraftKings and I did check other sportsbooks. You can see he does have juice towards the over, minus 125 on the over here, minus 110 on the under. So I'm happy with taking Happ on his over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs here. And when you combine these 2 players together on the same game parlay feature, and what we could do now is actually combine these 2 players together. So we take Happ on his over, and we also take Suzuki on his over. And you see Bet365 is giving me a plus 190 payout. So what that means is if we put $10 on this, we're getting returned $29. And as you guys know, the standard payout on Prizepicks for a 2-man is a 3x. And as we know, the standard payouts on Prizepicks for a 2-man is $10 into $30, or basically a 3x payout. So assuming we wouldn't get payout shifted, which in this case we do because the slip is not fully built out, you could see 2 correct place 2.75x. Because Prizepicks knows this is correlated, but when I build out the full slip and put it into a 4-man, we actually get no payout shift on a 4-man slip compared to a 2-man slip. I'm going to show you how much extra value we're actually getting near the end of the video. So that is going to be the first 2 picks. Now we're going to go over to Baltimore and grab another 2 players. The first one is going to be Santander on his over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. And we're stacking this up with Westberg on his over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. And this is a pretty similar concept to what I'm going with the Chicago stack. Of course, these guys are batting next to each other. And in this case, they're actually batting 4th and 5th. Pretty much exactly the same as Suzuki and Happ. Now, I would prefer to take Santander on his runs prop or something like that, but he does not have a good one on the board. He has hits, runs, RBIs, so I'm going to have to settle for that. Hits, runs, RBIs into runs is a better stack, but we got to work with what we have here, and that is the hits, runs, RBIs props. Honestly, I'm okay with it because there's very good juice on both these props. Westberg at minus 125 towards the over, and same thing for Santander here, minus 125 towards the over. And DraftKings also has the same odds or even better odds here. Santander at minus 130 towards the over, and Westberg minus 125 towards the over. So the general consensus on these players is that they are more likely to go over than under. And when you're stacking them up together in this lineup right here, 4th and 5th, it could be that Westberg's running in Santander. It could be that they're both getting hits and Hayes is running them both in. There's a lot of potential for both these guys to clear their lines together because they are right next to each other in that batting order. Now you're really going to realize how powerful this is when I combine all these props together. So let's make the same parlay on Bet365 and compare it to the Prizepicks payouts. So Santander on the over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Same thing for Westberg. Same thing for Happ. Then we're going to go over to the runs and grab the over on Suzuki. And you'll notice this is a plus 700 payout. Or in other words, $10 turns into $80. If we go over to Prizepicks, you're going to see we're actually getting that full payout, so $10 into $100. By playing this exact same slip on Prizepicks compared to Bet365, you're getting $20 of extra value, so that's 25% more money you're getting by playing this on Prizepicks. So the slip as a whole is positive expected value, because in the long run, when you're getting 20 additional dollars on every single slip you're playing, well, that's going to add up to a lot of extra profit. And if you're hitting these more than 1 in 10 times, which you would, and I do, well, that's great, because you're getting a 10x payout on this, and you're profiting 9 units every time you win one of these. That is the full MLB slip. Now I want to show you what the best play is over in CFL. I love CFL because it's also a very correlated play. Tonight we have one quarterback on the board. They did not put up the Toronto one. We got Cody at 300.5 passing yards, and we have 2 of his receivers, Julian Grant here at 57.5, and we also have Tyson at 90.5 receiving yards. I've talked about CFL in the past, and about 80% of the time, the double under is the play when you're stacking these guys up and correlating together. And if you guys don't know football or anything, the correlation between these guys is quarterback and wide receiver. You want to take them in the same direction. If Cody's not throwing a lot of passing yards, it's less likely that his main receiver is going over his receiving yards, because they're both going to be going under together, especially if he's going way under his passing yards, like only getting 200 or something like that. So you stack these two guys together, and you want to be taking the wide receiver 1 or the wide receiver 2. And Tyson is that wide receiver 1, so you want to stack these two guys together. Now again, the question is, do you want the more or do you want the less? And the less is the play, because these lines are set too high relative to other sports books. For Cody, he's set at 300.5 passing yards. On Bet365, he's set all the way down at 292.5. So we're getting 8 passing yards of protection. I know it doesn't seem like a lot of passing yards on 300 yards, but it definitely is a lot. I'm pretty sure just 2 weeks ago, I lost a passing yards prop by around 7 or 8 passes. So you definitely want as many as possible in your direction. And same thing for Tyson. He's set at 90.5 on Prizepicks, set at 88.5 on Bet365. So we're getting 2 receiving yards of value there. So 8 here and 2 here. And this is extremely correlated. This is an absolute great stack to throw into any entry. So I don't have an additional 2 picks to kind of end off this entry. Whatever you guys are rocking with, I'm sure you guys all have favorite props. Go ahead and combine this with these 2 props here. So I'm going to give you guys the freedom to add your 2 favorite props to this 2-man right here. Then you can turn this into a nice 10x power play. Good luck, everyone.